What up, Misfits? Welcome to the Misfit Heroes podcast. My name is Chris, and together we are going on a journey. Now, Misfits, unless you've been living in a cave for the last 2 years, you've probably heard the majority of the world has been in a lockdown state. No offense to those cave dwellers listening out there. That's totally normal for some people, I guess. A very common thing during the pandemic has been for people to try new things and discover activities they may not have known they were into. And people discover some pretty niche hobbies like running, which is something I prefer not to do unless somebody is chasing me. I discovered podcasting, which I think turned out pretty well. And then there are some people who just wanted to inspire others to do the things that they love. My guest tonight went from a college student studying computer science in 2015 to the operator and executive director of Raising Men and Women Lawncare Service, a nonprofit that inspires kids to do what he is calling the 50-yard challenge and mowing lawns of the less fortunate across America. His quest to inspire good deeds in our youth has been featured on ABC News, in front of over 61,000 Instagram followers, and even a Lay's potato chip bag. And he took time out of his very hectic schedule to tell me all about it. Misfits, if you want to get inspired to change your community for the positive, then this is a great conversation to start with. Please welcome Rodney Smith Jr.
Playing the Misfit Heroes podcast.
All right, Rodney Smith, welcome to Misfit Heroes podcast. I'm very excited to talk to you. How are you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I know you're a busy guy, so thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to me. I want to get the elephant in the room real quick. So I did a little research, and you live in Alabama, correct?
Yeah, I live in Alabama.
All right. Now, I'm just going to say it. That doesn't sound like your average Alabama accent. So where are you from originally?
yeah. So I'm originally from the island of Bermuda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How long you been in Alabama?
I came to Alabama in 2009. Yeah.
From what I've seen, you went to Alabama A&M, correct?
Yeah, I went to Alabama A&M University here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, cool. So what did you study?
Yeah, first I studied computer science, and that was a bachelor's degree. Then went back to get a master's in social work at the same school.
Misfits, for those of you that don't know, Rodney is the creator of the 50-yard challenge. It's a social media lawn mowing challenge that kids can do, and I want to let him describe it because he's going to do a way better job than I can. But tell me about the 50-yard challenge. What is the 50-yard challenge, and how did it come to pass? How did it get started?
Yeah, so the 50-yard challenge is basically a challenge that we have issued to kids nationwide and even worldwide to mow 50 free lawns in their community for the elderly, disabled, single parents, and veterans. So let's say you're the kid in North Carolina that accepted the 50-yard challenge. What they will do is they'll make a sign saying, "I accept the 50-yard challenge." And in return, we will send them a white Raising Women's t-shirt, along with safety glasses and ear protection. Once they mow 10 lawns, they get an orange shirt. Once they mow 20, a green, 30, a blue, 40, a red. And once they mow 50, they earn a black shirt. And when they mow 50, I drive or fly to wherever they are, if they're international, and present them a brand new mower, weed eater, and blower for completing this 50-yard challenge.
Cool. And I mean, how many kids have you affected with this? I mean, how many kids have done the 50-yard challenge?
I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but currently it's 2,700 plus kids that are taking part in it nationwide.
Wow.
And, we have kids in 8 other different countries.
That's insane, man. That's a pretty big deal. So how did it get started? I mean, what was your sort of motivation behind it?
Yeah, so back in 2015, I came across an elderly man outside mowing his lawn, and it looked like he was struggling. So I pulled over and helped him out, and that night I just decided I'll start mowing free lawns for the elderly, disabled, single parents, and veterans right here in Huntsville, Alabama. At first, my goal was to mow 40 lawns by the end of winter, because at the time I was in college, so I thought I could mow 40 lawns before winter. But I mowed 40 lawns so quick that I had my goal to 100. A month and a half later, I reached my 100th lawn, and that's when the idea of Raising Men and also now Raising Women's Lawn Care Service got started.
So, did you know this guy at all, or was he like, was he just some random guy on the street?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
So what's going on? I'm interested. I mean, what's going through your head at that point? You're just driving down the road. You just look over to the side and see somebody. I mean, was he having a hard time mowing his lawn, or what was his, what drew you to him?
Yeah, you could tell that he was struggling. You could tell he was up in age, and you could tell that, he needed some assistance. So, it just felt like a God telling me pull over and help him out. So that's what I done. And, that one small act of kindness eventually would change my life forever.
Wow. And when was this? How long ago was that?
This was in 2015.
In 2015. Now, you're a computer sciences guy. I mean, have you has this been your main focus? I mean, is
Yeah,
this your thing?
yeah. This is all I do right now. Just run the organization. So that's
That's awesome.
takes up all my time.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a pivot, though, right? I mean, that's like full tilt. That's a different world going from computer sciences to running a nonprofit.
Yeah, it's two big different worlds.
How has that experience gone? I mean, have you been you went full you create you're a nonprofit now, accredited nonprofit now, correct?
Yes.
So how has that been? I mean, how when did you decide to make that move from creating this challenge? Was it after creating the challenge, or when did you decide to make that move to starting it as a nonprofit organization to help people?
Um, fairly as the organization started, that's when the idea, of trying to get it to be a nonprofit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it took a little while because you got to go through a few things to
Yeah.
become a nonprofit. But yeah, but right now we're officially a nonprofit, and it helps out a lot because people can donate. Companies can donate and get a write off and stuff like that. So helps out a lot.
Awesome.
Helps out
Have you
tremendously.
had a lot of donations like that from companies or like corporate
Well,
sponsorship or anything like that?
had some, but most of our donations come from people that's donating $5 or $10 here and there, and then it all adds up.
So how do people donate to you? I mean, how does that work out?
Or just go on our website. We have an Amazon wish list where people can purchase lawnmowers that we give away to kids, and we have T-shirts where we're trying to raise some money for a scholarship fund for kids, and it's also people can go in there and just donate directly to the organization. And
How do kids get involved with the challenge again? I know you said all they have to do is just take a picture and post it to your
yeah,
social media, or
yeah.
do they
So
have to
just go
message
on our
you or anything
website.
like that?
We have on our website we have a form. We have a page for the 50-yard challenge, and parents can just go on there and sign their kids up, take a picture with them holding a sign saying "I accept the 50-yard challenge." Then we mail their stuff off, and they begin the journey.
What age ranges are they? I mean, from what
Um,
ages do they do?
yeah, so we take kids ages 7 to 17, and it's not just mowing lawns. We also include raking leaves, snow shoveling, and even picking up trash. So yeah, whatever the kid would like to do, they can do. And area where grass doesn't grow, kids can do pull weeds or whatever is needed to be done.
I've heard that you actually travel to the kids to personally deliver like lawnmowers to them. Is that right?
Yeah, so every time a kid completes a 50-yard challenge, I'll drive to them and present them their brand new mower, weed eater, and blower for completing the challenge. So
Now you're putting some miles on your vehicle. It must be.
yeah, so yeah, like the first car I had 300,000 miles on it, and then Ford Motor Company in Michigan, they donated a brand new 2020 Ford Edge last November.
Oh
Just
wow.
recently, a gentleman by the name of Neil Hawk, he purchased a cargo van for the organization, so I could put a lot more lawnmowers in there and travel and see the kids. And right now, the van's actually getting wrapped with our logo. So once I
Oh
get that
awesome.
back, I'll hit the road because I got about 20 plus kids that I need to visit that have finished recently.
That's crazy. Now,
Yeah.
prior to coming on the podcast, you said you just
Mhm.
went on a trip. I mean, how often are you traveling?
Just depends. Yeah, I just finished a 50-state tour. So I moved for different causes, and the cause that I moved for this time around was for teachers. And
Okay.
yeah, I went to all 50 states for teachers and got done with that, then came back home.
It's blowing my mind that you're just driving around, you see this guy on the side of the road, and you just go out to help him mow his
Hmm.
lawn. And
Yeah.
now here we are. What you said 2015 you started?
Yeah.
So 6 years later, and now you're traveling across
Yeah.
the country to deliver lawnmowers to kids. I mean,
Yeah.
God's plan. you know how
Yeah.
you know how
That's
none of
what it
us know
is.
God's plan.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. I mean, have you ever thought about that? I mean, what
Oh, yeah.
do you think that what process do you think God had in this?
Well, yeah. The whole process was him. You go only, you can't, it's like God gives everyone a book. And it's up to you to read that book because the book's already written. It's up to you to read it and find out what's in store for you. And I just end up reading my book because not too many people read their book. And so when I say read their book, a lot of people never find their purpose. So we all have that purpose book we're supposed to read and find out why we're here because after we're gone, someone else is gonna come. After they're gone, someone else will come. It's like many people came before us. Many people done things, and life is just a cycle. We all get replaced eventually, and it's about leaving something behind so the next generation can build from.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think you would have gone this far if you hadn't had your faith? I mean, were there any
Oh,
times where you had like struggles and things like that?
oh, I would never started if it wasn't for faith. I would never got this far. Because when I first came out of high school, I went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to attend a school called ITT Tech, and I was there for about 6 months. And during those 6 months, I had a difficult time, and it's hard adjusting. And one night I just asked God to use me as His vessel. He didn't give me an answer that day. Not a month later, not even a year later. It happened a few years later, and this point in life was that's when I came across the elderly man out mowing his lawn, and I felt that God was saying, "Look, you asked me to use you as your vessel, use you as a vessel, and this is what I want you to do." And ever since that moment, I've been mowing free lawns. Had never really had any real difficulties because I remember just saying to God one day, I see the path that you want me to go down. All I ask is, you provide. And I hardly really ever post about needing donations because God is providing and donations come in. So I believe you do His work, He'll provide for you. And yeah, the book is already written, and just reading it and finding out details. Yeah, that's all as well.
That's amazing. As I'm listening to you say that, I feel like so many times when we pray, we're talking about, what we want. Oh God, please provide for me what I want. But the way that you said that was just spot on. Use me as a vessel to help others. Use me
Yeah,
for your will, for your glory. I mean, that's beautiful. That's awesome. A little while ago, I
yeah.
listened to another podcast that you were on, and I
Hmm.
heard, I want to say, I'm not sure how long ago it was. There was an issue with your citizenship. I mean, you had been doing this for some time, and you're doing all these
Hmm.
great things, and then all of a sudden, the issue of your citizenship was, I believe, expiring or something like that, and you had to appeal to it. How did that play out? Is that still going on, or did that get taken
Yeah,
care of?
it's an ongoing process. I had a lawyer locally worked for Maynard Cooper, big law firm, and they have an immigration department. And Stephen Davis, who's my immigration attorney. He stepped up doing everything pro bono, and they're helping out with everything. And so hopefully, we get a good result, and everything's looking positive.
Is there anything that anyone can do to help? I mean, can people help in any way, shape, or form to help with that?
Right now, just ongoing process with it's a long process. You
Yeah.
have to send letters in and stuff like that, and yeah. So right now, I'm just waiting to hear back.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah,
be praying for you.
just it's
We'll
a
keep you in the
long
prayer.
process, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely a long process.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Nothing happens
Yeah.
quickly with the government.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, I mean, it amazes me that you're even having to go through that. There should be some type. There should be something that. I mean, you're affecting your community in such a positive way, and not just your community, but the
Yeah,
entire country. And other countries. I mean, it just
yeah.
boggles my mind. Have you gone to see any of the people in other countries? I mean, what other countries have you had helped these kids in?
Yeah, so just recently, like last year, a kid finished in Germany, I believe. He's from the United States, but he's on the base out there with his parents. And then a kid in Bermuda finished recently. So there's only two. Once I get this immigration situation finished and completed with, my goal will be to fly over, and visit them. So right now, that's the wait. And then, of course, the coronavirus. So I know some countries are not, it's strict to get in right now. So
Yeah.
strict to get in.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind a little bit how everything's been playing out with COVID. How's that been affecting your organization as well? I mean, have kids been able to still submit
Yeah.
and try and be part of the challenge?
Yeah, and, especially last year when schools were canceled and stuff like that, kids needed something to do, and they found out about the organization, and we had a lot of kids sign up. Most kids we ever had sign up in a year period time. So yeah, kids have been signing up. COVID has not stopped them at all.
I heard that you're taking actual lawn mowing equipment to these kids. I mean, what do the kids do after that? I mean, have any of them gone on to, like, when I was a kid, I had friends that started, businesses, so to speak, mowing people's
Yeah.
lawns. Have any of the kids gone on to do any of that?
Yeah, some kids, they continue to mow. And then you got some kids that, start businesses. So, yeah, it's really up to the kid if they want to do. And it's also up to the parents because, for the kid to get to the lawn, the parents need to be able to take them because they're not able to drive. So
Right.
it's a commitment from the parents and the kids. And what's the next step going to be?
Now, this is not only just changing these kids' lives, but it's also changing their communities as well. Can you talk a little bit about, was that one of your intents, was to, not only change kids' mindsets, but also the community mindset about, togetherness and helping each other out with this sort of solution?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I really didn't know what to expect. And it was just something to do locally, then it turned into a national organization after, the start of the 50 state tours and people hearing about the organization. And, it grew. Then you see, once you seeing it grow, you see it's not just a need in your community, it's a need in every community around the United States. And then you see people at first, oh, I don't believe it's free, and then once they see you really doing it for free, oh wow, you're really doing it, you're really helping me out, I really appreciate it. And the kids coming aboard and moving for free and helping out, and just bringing people together. Yeah, like you said, togetherness, bringing it together and doing something good for the community, helping those in need.
I definitely think that it's something that's really necessary, particularly now. I don't know if you want to call it post-COVID, but we've got so many things that are not togetherness focused.
Yeah.
They're really, it's like you can't turn on the TV or look at your phone or anything like that without somebody. You just don't feel united a whole lot. And I think just one of the things that I love about what you're doing is that you are doing it for free. You're not asking for anything from anyone. You're just literally just going out there, and not only that, but you're inspiring others to do this for free as well. I mean, think about the change that can be brought just by that simple aspect of not asking for anything from anyone, but going wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it is, because not too many people do things for free. Not too many people do it out of the kindness of their hearts for someone else, especially.
Yeah.
So it's important, especially people that you're mowing for. A lot of them can't afford it, So when you come mow the grass for free, frees them up, and they can use those extra funds for food, medication, and other things they really need.
Now, we've talked about the kids and you're having relationships with these kids, but what about the relationships with, like, the elderly and the veterans and things like that? I mean, do you I'm sure you've talked to these people and sort of built relationships with them as well. Have you stayed in touch with any of these people, and what type of relationships have you built, over time dealing with the actual people that you're mowing the lawns for?
Oh yeah, I mean, you build relationships with them, especially the ones locally where you go mow every 2 weeks or so. So build those relationships, you get to know them, and become like second family. But when I do the 50 state tours, you get to meet people, whatever cause I'm mowing for the veterans, police officers, whoever it may be. You get to meet them, and some of them even hit you up when they see you going around again. The 50 state tours. So one gentleman out in Connecticut, I don't mow his lawn or anything, but every time I come through Connecticut, he's always sending me a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, stuff like that. So it's, people support you for sure.
That's awesome, man. Well, another one of the things I wanted to talk to about as well, I saw I believe on your Instagram, you've got these lawnmowers all customized and decked out. I mean, what brought that to your head? I mean, and who's helping you with it? Are you customizing those yourself, or they look pretty dope, man?
No, I hired different airbrush artists.
Okay.
So my one main guy is in Texas. I got 2 guys locally. So I just whatever cause I mow for a 50 state tour, I tell them what I want, and they bring the idea to life.
That's awesome. Are those just like custom lawnmowers that you're using, or what happens with them afterwards?
Yeah, so I auction them off and give 100% of the funds to whatever charity, a charity associated with the cause that I'm mowing for that tour. So yeah, whatever cause I'm running for, I raise funds for that cause.
And you said this past one was for teachers?
Yeah, teacher.
Awesome.
Teacher. Yeah, I haven't auctioned that one off yet, but I'll be auctioning that one off soon.
Is there anywhere that anybody can bid on them, or where do they get auctioned off at? Or?
Oh yeah, once I post on my social media and saying, "Oh, you can bid on the lawnmower here," and people just go on there and bid.
Awesome. Well, I've seen, not just on social media and not just I've seen you all over the place. I heard that you were on a bag of chips. Like, are you literally all that and a bag of chips?
Yeah, yeah. Lay's I'm featured us on their Smile Chip campaign last September. So that was a pretty cool experience.
Now, how did that come to pass? I mean, did they contact you or?
Yeah, so a friend of mine told me you should nominate yourself for the Legs Bag of Chips campaign, the Dream Smile campaign, and yeah, so I made it to the first stage. Then I guess they're picking a bunch of people from across the country that's doing good for the community. Yeah, so it was a very, very cool experience.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty awesome campaign. They should do more stuff like that. I mean, what is that like though? You're just like walking through the grocery store and all of a sudden you see yourself on a bag of chips. That's got to blow your mind a little bit, right?
Yeah. You try to buy the bags up and stuff like that.
Like, what is that conversation like when you're checking out with that girl and she's like, "Oh, that's you." Like,
yeah, it's definitely a cool experience. Just to walk in and see your bag, and if you don't see your bag, you're like, "Oh wow, my bag must be sold out or something."
Now, be honest. Did you buy like a case of those chips just to like put them up in your house? I would.
Oh, yeah.
I would. You don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah, I definitely had to buy them. Yeah, the downstairs right now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I really love talking to you. I think what you're doing is just fantastic, and I think it's really needed. What's next for you and your organization? What's upcoming?
Just keep growing the organization and get more kids to take part in the 50-yard challenge, and eventually, start chapters of the organization down the line, and just growing it because it's a much needed service. It's like a social service, like the big brothers and big sisters. So just trying to build that, and hopefully next year we can get an office spot and just grow the organization.
Okay. Now, can people start their own chapter of your organization, or can they get in touch with you? I mean, is that a possibility at all?
Not yet. But eventually that's the goal. Because when you start chapters, especially with kids involved, you got to make sure the right people are running the chapters.
Right.
Got to do background searches and stuff like that. A lot more comes to it on the legal side when it comes to starting chapters. So once we figure that stuff out, that's cool.
Going from mowing people's lawns to actually starting a nonprofit, I mean, how has that transition been? I mean, has it been what you expected it to be, or has there been underlying things that you just weren't seeing happen?
It's been pretty straightforward. It hasn't been a hard process. Just gotta fill out the paperwork, and it's best to find a lawyer that can help you out with that type of stuff. You don't want to do it on your own. You find a lawyer that can fill out all the information and that knows what they're doing. It makes the process a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
At first, I didn't have a lawyer. I just went through LegalZoom. So
oh, really?
I realized, hey, I need a lawyer.
That seems like that could be a little bit of a hindrance. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this for like $50 online. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't go the easy way. Just best advice is to tell people, if you want to start a nonprofit, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer that specializes in forming nonprofits and stuff like that.
Lawyer up. Awesome. That's good advice.
Yeah.
What's been your most memorable experience doing this whole thing so far? What's stuck out for you in the entire time you've been doing it?
Just knowing we're making a difference and encouraging kids. Never would have expected to have so many kids taking part in such a simple idea and getting out there and making a difference. So that's one thing that really has stuck out. Just seeing the kids getting out there and making a difference, and no one's forcing them to do it. They're wanting to do it on their own, and they're wanting to make a difference. So that's a good thing to see.
Do you inspire the kids, or are they inspiring you?
They're inspiring me. They're inspiring me for sure.
That's awesome. Well, we're winding down a little bit, but at the end of every episode, I ask every guest the same question. I'm interested to hear your perspective on it, and it can literally be anything. All right. But what was the last goal that you completed, and what's the next goal that you want to set?
The last goal I completed was finishing my 11th 50 state mowing tour. The next goal would be to next big goal will be to find an office building for the organization, and grow. That's the next big goal.
Now, are you focused only on Alabama for that search, or or is it anywhere you're looking to be?
Yeah, I mean, headquarters will be here, so headquarters definitely be here in Huntsville, Alabama, somewhere. But yeah, we'll have to get the HQ situated. We can start looking elsewhere for look elsewhere for different office spots and even places where we can store lawnmowers across the country. So when I go travel across the country, if I have so many kids in that area and I can only fit so many lawnmowers, I could pick up one from our storage facility along the way. So
awesome. Well, I'll be praying for you. I know big things are going to be coming for you in the future. I can tell already. I love what you're doing. I really think that it's not only just needed, but I think it's very powerful, the impact that you're having on people that probably don't even know you and don't even know the impact that they're going to create on future people. I mean, you're really just building that foundation across America. I love what you're doing, man. So
I appreciate it, man. I really do.
Yeah, man. How can people get a hold of you one more time? Tell me about your social media handles and your website and all that stuff. I mean, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so the best way to contact us is at weareraisingmen.com or raisingmenandwomenlawncareservice.com. Social media is Rodney Smith on Facebook and Rodney Smith Jr. on Facebook and Instagram, and I am Rodney Smith on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook. It's Raising Men Lawn Care Service, Raising Women's Lawn Care Service. So that'll be the best way.
And we want to be clear: it's not just men. There's young women in there too, right?
Of course, yes. Officially, Raising Men and Raising Women Lawn Care Service.
Awesome. Well, Rodney, thanks again so much for coming on. I really appreciate talking to you. And, like I said, I see big things coming for you in your future. I really love what you're doing. So keep up the good work, bud.
Yes, sir, man. I really appreciate you. And thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Well, Misfits, go check Rodney out. Everything that I've seen about him is just a great impact on people. So that's all we got for you this episode. Misfits, thank you so much for watching and have a great evening. Well, Misfits, we did it. That's our episode. I want to thank you so much for listening, and thanks again to our sponsors. If you want to support any of our sponsors, there are affiliate links on the sponsors tab of our website at www.misfit-heroes.com. You can also find links to all of our social media there, so follow us for immediate up-to-date info about the podcast. Please, Misfits, if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to help me out, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button down below so you're notified of new episodes as they're released, and make sure to leave a rating and review of the show on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. Truly, Misfits, I love you. Thank you so much for listening. And until the next episode, be kind, love one another, and be a hero.